Every winner of the Super Bowl and loser of the Super Bowl, for that matter, is important. Winning or losing is the culmination of 3 to 5 years of work that leads up to that game for both teams. For the Bengals, it sucks that they lost the Super Bowl, but there's a lot of young players on this team, and there's a good chance that they will be able to use a loss in the Super Bowl as fuel for a fire that leads them to being the best team in the NFL one day. But for the Los Angeles Rams, when they hired Sean McVay on January 12th, 2017, they had a lot of issues with their roster, and they had a lot of promises that were made to them by Sean McVay and the plan that he set out to achieve for this franchise. One of those plans was completely overhauling the entire roster in a very short period. Since January 12th, 2017, the Rams have only 3 players who were on the franchise roster before the hiring of Sean McVay. Those 3 guys are Johnny Hekker, Tyler Higbee, and Aaron Donald. Now, especially for those 3 guys, they see, like I say, the culmination of about 3 to 5 years of very, very hard changes that went through this franchise. You look at what they did in the past couple of years, how many offensive and defensive coordinators that they got poached from their team. You see a complete overhaul of the roster. You see a quarterback change just in the last year. You see a running back situation that was always in flux. You see a defense that made huge changes with trading first round and second round and third round picks in order to get elite players. And with winning the Super Bowl, not only do those 3 guys have a ring on their finger, but for guys like Aaron Donald and for guys like Jalen Ramsey, who are considered one of, if not the best player at that position today, they go up a few more rungs on the ladder of being some of the best ever to play at their position. However, for the Rams and especially their front office and coaching staff, I think for Sean McVay, Les Snead, and Stan Kroenke, this is a huge win for them because it showed that the plan that nobody believed was going to work, this whole trading first-round picks, the Los Angeles Rams in 6 years, including this year, are going to have made 0 first-round picks. They don't have a second-round pick this year either. However, with 0 first-round picks in 6 years, they have 2 Super Bowl appearances to show for it, and they have 1 Super Bowl that they won in front of their own fans in a brand new stadium that was just built last year. It seems like the LA Rams are starting to make this trend and be their own trendsetters in terms of how to earn your Super Bowl. And I think a lot of people, especially older people, probably will say the right way to do it is to draft a team, build up your stars, build up guys who you can believe in, and earn that trust and team chemistry through the draft. With what the LA Rams have done is they have proved that that's not the only way to do it. We've seen a lot of teams try this way. We've seen, the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago. They went so hard on trying to build a dream team, they got 2 quarterbacks to play between Vince Young and Michael Vick. Now, neither of those options were very good that year, but they still did it. And now just staying with this topic of talking about the players and the draft picks that the LA Rams have drafted, or not drafted, but traded in the last few years, I laugh at myself because I think of myself as somebody who gives Jared Goff a little bit more credit than maybe he deserves. I think of Jared Goff the same way I think about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think you can be the starting quarterback for a Super Bowl. I don't think you can be the quarterback of a Super Bowl team and be considered a bad player. I think Jared Goff is probably a top half of the quarterback. When you look at all 32 starting quarterbacks, he's in the top half of the league. I think that's fair to say. But I still laugh at myself because where would this LA Rams team be if they did not trade those draft picks and Jared Goff for Matt Stafford? There's a really good chance if they ran this team back with Jared Goff as the starting quarterback, they might not even make the playoffs because without such a hot start that the Rams and Matthew Stafford got off to in the first 9 weeks of this season, with the bump in the road that they had, if they had Jared Goff in those first 9 games, like I said, there's a really good chance that they do not even make the playoffs this year, much less win the Super Bowl. I want to talk about a few guys for this LA Rams team. First up is Jalen Ramsey. I really thought that Jalen Ramsey had a good chance of winning Super Bowl MVP this game, and he struggled. He really struggled. To be fair, he had probably one of the worst non-call pass interference on the offense plus offensive face mask. That was a terribly missed call on that touchdown to T. Higgins. But hey, things happen. Even without that play, Jalen Ramsey was struggling, and Jalen Ramsey, he had moments where he was getting beat, and even with that, they won. And I think it goes to show, having that elite corner is still valuable, because even on the plays where he got burned, it seemed like it were plays where he kind of got forced to the ground by the receiver, or he was just beaten in a physical manner that isn't usually allowed on those types of plays. So, with a ring on his finger now, Jalen Ramsey is able to move past this game and still be considered one of the best cornerbacks of all time. Man, when I saw Odell Beckham Jr. go down yesterday, I think I had the same exact sort of feeling about it that a lot of people had. And that's just, it's not disappointment, because I would never be disappointed in a player getting injured. It was like pure sadness seeing Odell Beckham Jr. go down last night. And then I think the reports are now that he has a torn ACL, same exact knee that he tore his ACL in over, a couple of years ago, which is weird because it was against the Bengals as well. So that's just, I'm happy he got at least a touchdown before that happened, because Odell Beckham, he proved a lot of people wrong this postseason. He proved a lot of people wrong after he went to LA. Everybody wanted to use him as the scapegoat in Cleveland, especially in the media. So I'm happy he got his touchdown. I'm happy he got his ring. I'm so sad for him that he did not get to play the entire game. I hate how NBC and every single media member had to post pictures and zoom in on Odell Beckham Jr.'s face while he was crying, or just during the game. I hate that, because obviously a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. wants to be on the field. He doesn't want to have cameras zoomed in on his face every 5 seconds after every single play to see if he's having some sort of reaction. But he proved a lot of people wrong. He proved me wrong, and I'm happy about that. Cooper Kupp, man. Cooper Kupp. I want to say this. I go to the same school that Cooper Kupp went to, and the town that our school is in, it was like seeing a kid that you grew up with your whole entire life be able to fulfill all of his dreams and become at the top of his game, or at the top of his skill at whatever he's doing. And he really put the cherry on top of the greatest season any receiver has ever had in their life. Think about this. Jerry Rice is the only guy to win the wide receiver triple crown and win Super Bowl MVP. He's the only guy to do that in an entire career. And Cooper Kupp did that in one season. And he joins a list of only 8 guys to win Super Bowl MVP, with Jerry Rice, Lynn Swann, Santonio Holmes, Julian Edelman, Fred Biletnikoff, Hines Ward, and Deion Branch. Now, all of those guys are Hall of Famers, and all of those guys are guys, especially in Jerry Rice, Lynn Swann, Fred Biletnikoff, Hines Ward's case, they're considered on the short list of probably the top 15 wide receivers of all time. And at this point, with the type of season that Cooper Kupp just had and where his trajectory is probably going, there's a real chance we consider Cooper Kupp one of, if not the greatest receiver of all time. But let's be real. This win is about Matthew Stafford. And I'll say this. I felt myself hating Matt Stafford during last night's game, because I was seeing something that proved me wrong. I was seeing Matthew Stafford actually win a clutch game in a clutch situation where he had to get it. He had to put the ball in the right place. He had to do it. And he did it. And, I'm the type of guy, when you do something like that, you deserve to celebrate. And you deserve to, when he was looking in the camera last night, when they were on the little stage and he was just looking into the camera, I guarantee for him, that was like a big FU to every single person that said that the Rams weren't going to be able to do it with him at the quarterback position, that said that trading for him with all the first-round picks and Jared Goff in combination to get him from Detroit. He proved me wrong, and I guarantee he proved a lot of people in the country wrong last night. And, it's a realization that their dream worked between him, McVay, Kroenke, Les Snead. This was the culmination of winning the most coveted prize in NFL history. And the Rams deserve to have a huge celebration for this. Not only because they won it in front of their own fans, man, in a brand new stadium with basically a brand new team that has just been brought together within the last 2 to 4 seasons. And they deserve everything that they've won.